Okay, well, thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Mike Rudy. I'm the Director of Sales for Mailing Solutions here at Satori Software. I know this is a critical time in your business with the decision being made here by SAP to discontinue the Postalsoft desktop product line. I appreciate you taking the time to join us today for this webinar. I'm very familiar with Postalsoft and the products that you have been using over these years. I got started in the mailing industry myself about 15 years ago at First Logic. I spent 10 years there as an account manager, and for a few of those years I helped them get the maintenance renewal department started and managed that group before finishing my career there as an account manager again. In July of 2011, I began working here at Satori Software. Just before the partnership between SAP and Satori was announced. In that last year and a half or so here, I've been working hard at transitioning actually a lot of the Postalsoft professional users over to Satori Software. And then just this year, I have become the Director of Sales for Mailing Solutions. Joining me today is Randy Walker, a Solutions Engineer here with Satori Software. Randy has been with Satori Software for 8 years. He started out in technical support. He spent 3 years there before becoming a solutions engineer. And as a solutions engineer, Randy is an integral part of the sales team. He takes the lead on many demonstrations, performs proof of concepts, and he helps in any way he can in the pre-sales process. As you'll soon find out during the demo, Randy is a valuable technical resource for us here at Satori. I'd like to take a quick look at the schedule for today's webinar. I'll start with some information on Satori Software. I'm not sure, I know not everyone is familiar with Satori, so I'll just provide some background for you. After that, we'll get right into the reason for today's webinar, the discontinuation of SAP's desktop Postalsoft products. And then I'll go into what we feel is the best solution to fill the gap, Satori Software's own bulk mailer product line. We'll discuss some key terms and how they vary between SAP's desktop product and bulk mailer. And then Randy will provide a live demo of bulk mailer so you can actually see it in action today. And then we'll round things off discussing some extended resources at our website and whatnot. So first and foremost, let me welcome you all to Satori Software. We appreciate the fact that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. We also realize that you are all at a critical juncture in your business. You have an important decision ahead of you concerning what product will take the place of desktop mailer or business edition. And I'd like you all to know that Satori aims to be the vendor that will take you by the hand through this process and provide you with the product, training, and support that you deserve. You may or may not realize that Satori has been delivering mailing solutions now for over 30 years, and our future in the mailing market space is stable and shining bright. We continue to invest in mailing technologies through acquisition and organic development. And as some of you know, we did partner with SAP back in 2011 to resell and support the Postalsoft product lines. Late last year, they announced the end of life for many of the Postalsoft products, including Desktop Mailer and Business Edition. At that time, Satori Software acquired the Postalsoft pre-sort product, not the desktop products, but the pre-sort product. And what some of you may not know is that we also grew by acquisition when we acquired Monticello Software, a leading post-pre-sort package. So the great thing about Satori is that we also continue to invest in the ongoing development of our products. We think about the customer, we design with you in mind, who is using the software, how do you use it, what is it used for. And if you choose bulk mailer, you will be joining over 5,000 satisfied customers. We are an advocate for mailers with USPS. And several of our staff, including Tim Mock, Bob Shimmick, and Corey Smith, are heavily involved in industry organizations like MTAC, Postcom, and AMSP, formerly MFSA. So why are we hosting a webinar today about SAP Desktop? Well, we consider the end of life of the SAP Postalsoft desktop products as a game changer, and Satori would like to be your partner during this time of transition. With the end of life of December 31st quickly approaching, we want to demonstrate to you that we are your dependable source for your mailing software needs. We know that you will need to make a choice for new mailing software vendor, and we'd like to show you that by choosing Satori Software, we will not let you down. We know how important long-standing relationships are, and we have partnered up with your master dealers and created a unique category of reseller, the Satori Prime resellers. This will allow you to maintain the trust, rapport, and friendship with the master dealers who have served you over the past several years. Satori Software and the Prime resellers have designed an onboarding process to help you through the uncertainty of the end-of-life process. So why do we think bulk mailer is the superior mailing product in the industry? Well, with more than 5,000 customers, and we designed bulk mailer to be simply powerful, easy to use, but with powerful, robust features. And Satori hires passionate people. I mean, we care about the mailing industry. We care about your business. So why do we think you should choose bulk mailer to replace your Postalsoft desktop product? Well, Satori Software is here to support you in any way we can during this transition. When Satori Software acquired Postalsoft Presort from SAP, several of the key developers actually joined the Satori Software team at that time. Nearly 85 years of combined Presort development experience. So what does that mean for the future products and development? Well, combined with our existing staff, this gives Satori an incredible range of experience to bring you further enhancements and developments with our mailing solutions. Satori Software is taking steps to hire even more additional staff to support, maintain, enhance, and evolve our mailing solutions into the future. So remember the days when you could pick up the phone and get technical support? Well, Satori cares about making sure your issues are resolved quickly and efficiently. Our support reps are available by phone 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time, and often with little to no hold time. Satori's customer support reps are friendly, concerned, and dedicated engineers that have a deep knowledge of USPS regulations and best practices for mail preparation, and they understand business mail. For the Postalsoft desktop customers that have already made the transition to bulk mailer, we've held training webinars to help with that transition, and we're getting constant feedback and comments about how great the Satori support has been. We actually have 3 more training webinars coming up, and I'll give you more information on those near the end of today's presentation. I'd like to spend a little time talking about the transition should you decide to move forward with bulk mailer. Should you decide to purchase bulk mailer, we will also provide you with a copy of Postalsoft Business Edition good through the end-of-life date of December 31st, 2013. This will allow you to use both products as you transition off the Postalsoft desktop and onto bulk mailer. Satori will be there every step of the way to help support your transition, and as I mentioned previously, we have 3 upcoming training webinars specifically geared towards customers that are making the transition to bulk mailer before the end of the year. Another major concern right now for mailers is going full service. Well, Satori has you covered in this regard also, and if you're a subscriber to Satori's On the Envelope newsletter, which just went out yesterday, you would have learned to keep your eye out for a full-service intelligent mail training program coming soon. With the end of life quickly approaching for the Postalsoft desktop products, Satori is ready and willing to work with you to transition to bulk mailer. What I'd like to do now is discuss some of the differences in Postalsoft desktop products and bulk mailer. And then Randy Walker is going to give you a live walkthrough of the bulk mailer software. Bulk mailer and Postalsoft accomplish the same common goals, which is to produce pre-sort mailings for maximum discounts. How these products are designed and the terminology varies slightly, however the end results are the same. For example, a job in Postalsoft is referred to as a mailing in bulk mailer. So on your screen here you can see a side-by-side comparison of the common tasks and how they relate to each other between the 2 products. I'm not going to go through all these on this slide right now, but you can see these at a quick glance. It's pretty intuitive how they match up. I'd like to share some side-by-side screen comparisons, and when Randy does the live demo here in a minute, you can see these screens in action. In bulk mailer, all of the jobs are referred to as mailings. They're visible directly here on the home screen. On the left, you can see the Satori bulk mailer home screen. On the right is what you're familiar seeing with the Postalsoft products. So to open a previous mailing, all you need to do is double-click on that actual specific mailing instead of opening one of the Postalsoft files that you're used to on the right there. Bulk mailer refers to field mapping during the import process. We use a visual chain link icon, which you can see over here on the left, to display the mapped fields with the column names on the right. So you can see how they match up with the source over there, first name, last name, company. Postalsoft, of course, uses the lines to link these fields together. Address correction is very similar between the two products. CAS, DPV, SweetLink, and LaxLinks are industry standards. However, with bulk mailer, NCOA is also an integrated real-time process that applies address correction as well. So you can see the comparison here, pretty similar. A lot of the settings and whatnot will be very familiar to you. And again, when we go through the demo here with Randy, you can see this screen in action. As far as pre-sort functionality, in both Postalsoft and bulk mailer uses a step-by-step approach to selecting the appropriate options for a mailing. Bulk mailer includes drop shipment as a standard option. Full service mailings can be completed using either Mail.dat or Mail.XML. And Randy will go over this section in great detail during the demo. Our reporting engine produces easy-to-read PDFs, allowing acceptance personnel to find key information quickly. And bulk mailer has intuitive printing capabilities. The purpose of showing some of these side-by-side comparisons is to get you comfortable with the transition from Postalsoft desktop products to bulk mailer. For more in-depth comparisons and making the transition, I urge you to attend one of the upcoming training webinars that are titled Bulk Mailer for Postalsoft Desktop Users, Migration Made Easy, and I'll announce the dates for those calls at the end here. What we'd like to do now is give you the live demonstration of bulk mailer. I'm going to pass control here over to Randy Walker. And Randy, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Mike, and thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. At this time, I'm going to take a few minutes and kind of get you familiar with the home screen here, where most everything you need is accessible at all times through bulk mailer. So as Mike had mentioned, the home screen here, this gives you a list of all of the bulk mailer files that you have available, or as jobs as you're used to them. Down below here, this is where if you click on any of the files within bulk mailer, you can come down and quickly print reports if you need to generate new reports for some reason. The folders here, these are virtual folders where you can use to organize your lists by customer if you want, and you simply just drag one of those files over to the folder that you choose, and that's how you can keep yourself organized within bulk mailer. We have a navigation bar down here on this left, and it's more of a chronological approach. You just start from the top and work your way down, eventually to the print mail, and then you're done with your mailing. Down here in the bottom, we have the data details screen. This is where you can come and look at any time. It's visible throughout bulk mailer. It will tell you what list you have open, how many records you have in the current count, as well as the total count of the file. Groups is also what you're used to as filters, where you can specifically filter down on a specific group. Maybe you want to look at the all move update records or any record that has been identified as a move. You can use the groups to do so. So to get started here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and double-click on the new mailing wizard, and I get this familiar welcome screen. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And at this point, I can choose to create a blank bulk mailing file or use an existing import template when I create the file to make a one-step import the records and create the file. I'm going to keep them separate at this time and show you the import-export section here momentarily. Here's where I can give this file a name. By default, it gives it a date and time stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that and then click Finish. And so now you'll notice it created another line item on the home screen here. You can see that over here under the records, there's 0 records, as well as it reflected down here in the data details. There's no records in the current count or the total count. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Import-Export section, and here's where I'm going to go ahead and import records into this file. I'll double-click on the Import Wizard, and I get the welcome screen, so I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Here's where I can select a file to import into bulk mailer. And so I'm going to go ahead and select a file. Bulk mailer can handle multiple different file formats, pretty much any type of text file, Excel files, existing Postalsoft files, VBase, Access, even previous versions of bulk mailer. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and focus on the DBase and import an existing Postalsoft file. I'm going to select that and say Open. Now you'll see the location and the name of the file that I'm getting ready to import into bulk mailer. I click Next. Now on the mapping screen, you'll notice that there are chain link icons next to some of these fields. These are the ones that bulk mailer were able to recognize and auto map for me. So I can hover over the first name here, and you'll see I get the first 15 rows of that column, and so I can be assured that that's a first name field. And you'll see over here that first name has been identified for the source to the first name of bulk mailer. If there was a field within this file that I could not find the appropriate column to map it to, such as maybe an account number or something to that effect, we have user-defined fields down here that you can import any data that is non-specific to an address or a name. You can map as many or as little fields as you want, and bulk mailer will allow you to import them in. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the defaults and click Next. With bulk mailer, it is a template-based application, much like you're used to with the load plan or load information. However, any section beyond the home screen in bulk mailer are templates that can be applied to any mailing that you have open at any time. So I'm going to give this a name here and just call it PS import. And then click Finish. And now I've imported those records. You'll also notice it show up as a line item here underneath the import section. The export section works exactly the same way, which I'll follow up after we get done with the print mail section. So like in Postalsoft with a home screen here where you can see the actual record view, you can see any of the records in there, we have that section here under the views. And so the views is where you can come in and you can ensure yourself that you've imported the records and you've imported them in correctly. As well as seeing the records here in a list view, you have this data details down here again that's always visible that shows you that you've imported 2010 records. I can make edits here. I can apply various filters. There's a whole array of options that I can do up here as well. This is the basic address view. I can come to a full record view. And again, you can define your own view if you'd like as well. Moving on down the navigation bar, the address quality section. Here's where you're going to come to do any of your move updates, your address correction, duplication searches, merge purge, as well as some data services that we have. So the address correction portion of it, this is very familiar, or it should be very familiar to you. This is where the CAS process, the delivery point validation, sweet link, and lax link are all applied to this list. The key differentiator here between bulk mailer and what you're used to is this move update. We have the integrated 48-month NCOA directly within bulk mailer. And with the NCOA process, through the move update section, it'll also apply CAS, delivery point validation, sweet link, and lax link to your lists. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through the integrated NCOA process, which is a real-time address validation and checking for move process. I'm going to go ahead and just click Next. Matching logic, here's where you can do business, individual, and family name lookups, or you can limit it down. So you can use a business or an individual. You can use individual and family, business, individual. If you have multiple names per record, you can come here and select how you want to search for last names, maybe a common last name or individual last names. Again, we are a full-service provider of that 48-month NCOA data, so we can look back 48 months. And also you can determine what class of mail you're mailing for. All really does cover all, so typically the defaults here are just fine. This review new address window, this is where you're going to look at any of the new addresses that were returned from this process, or you could just skip and automatically accept those in a production environment. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. This section here is where the address correction formatting options apply. So this is where it's going to abbreviate any of your street or address information, apply casing either in mixed, uppercase, or lowercase, and then you can choose to additionally apply that to the business or name fields. Uncorrected records, we have the ability to update the city, state, or zip when possible, so I'll go ahead and make sure that's checked to ensure that we get the most amount of corrections possible. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish here. And at this time, what it's going to do is it's going to reach out to our servers. It's going to stream the data through our servers, check for moves, and then bring it back. And so there we go. It's sending the records, checking for moves, and returning them to me. This is the review window here. You can see the original address as it was submitted, the new address after it was address correction, the new address coming back from the move, and what type of a move it was. So I can accept these one by one. However, you can see there was 22 of them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and accept all. At this point, you have the option to either view, print, or save the reports as a PDF. So I'm going to go ahead and view them at this time. And so right here you see the CAS report. And then below this is where you get into the NCOA summary report. And so this is your proof to the post office that you have processed through an automated NCOA or an NCOA link process. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this, move on down the list here. So next I'm going to go into the duplication search and show you how duplication works within bulk mailer. We've broken it out from...
Randy,
yeah.
This is Mike. I think somehow we've lost your screen. We got somebody noted that they can't see the report. They said the visual has stopped, so you might want to check your settings there. There we go. Okay. Now we can see it.
You can see it now. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so moving on down, the duplication search, we've broken it out again from merge, purge, and duplication search. You can do a duplication search against one list real quick within bulk mailer, or if you had multiple lists that you wanted to search against, you could do that with the merge, purge. At this time, I'm going to go into the duplication search, and I'm going to click next past the familiar welcome screen. And this, too, is template-driven or plan-driven. And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to look down the list of options that I have. I could either select a predefined duplication strategy, or I could create my new duplication strategy or a new template. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And at this point, we're going to use zip code, address line, the last line name, the first name. I could use business or phone number if I would like. I'm going to click Next. I can use up to 4 additional fields within bulk mailer as well. So we have a whole array of text fields you could use, any type of field within bulk mailer that you feel would be necessary for duplication search. Processing options. Here you have the option to sort your records either by the creation date, oldest, or newest, or the modification date. In other words, when you're importing into bulk mailer, you can import multiple lists, and this is how you can determine which list is going to get the highest priority. Group action, you have the ability to delete the records or just mark them to perform an action on later. The delete records option here, it's going to remove them from the total and the current count in the data details. However, we do have a recovery option where you can recover them if you've made a mistake. Apply the action to all but first record in the group will remove any subsequent duplicates and leave you with unique records. All records in group will remove any duplicates that it found and just take those records out of the list. All but first record in the group, that will just remove the first one and leave any of the remaining duplicates that it's found. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. I have the ability to save this again as a template, so I'm going to go ahead and finish and let it go through the duplication search. Okay, so it's found one group of duplicates. A group is 2 or more of the same record And then we have the review window here where you can come in and confirm that your matching template or your matching strategy was effective. So this one's obvious that it is. I'm just going to go ahead and hit process all. It's going to tell me it's going to remove all of the remaining duplicates. I'm going to just say OK. And then close this and close it. So now if you notice down in the data details, it has removed that one record from the current and the total count. And again, the group is the all active records. That means any record that's active in this file will be placed in the current count. The merge purge, we can get in that with the training sessions. Data services, I wanted to talk a bit about this. That's where you can get in and you can do head of householding, apartment append. You can do an enhanced change of address service, which uses outside of the USPS data set. It uses a compiled list of magazine subscriptions, utility bills, that sort of thing. As well as you get access to the DSF squared, so you can walk sequence append your list directly within bulk mailer. There's also the national do not mail and suppression suite that we give you through here. And so just know that's available to you as well. Now groups, I do want to spend some time on the groups because this is important. This is where you're going to come to apply any of the filters that you're used to in Postalsoft. And so here we have groups that are predefined, such as the all move update records, all corrected records. Maybe you want to look at the deleted records. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the all move update records, and it's telling me that 24 records have been selected by this group, and it's asking me if I want to make it active. So I'm going to say yes. Now you can look down here in the data details and see that this group has filtered out 24 records from the total count because these 24 records have been identified as a move within bulk mailer. If I wanted to create a custom defined criteria, I can double click on this group wizard, click next, and in here I can add any condition available within bulk mailer. So you have all of the fields, including your user defined fields that you may have imported records in, and then you can choose to apply any type of comparison filter or value you would like against that field. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cancel out of this. I just wanted to show you that you can create your own custom grouping or what you're used to as a filter. Next, I'm going to go into the mail sort section, and here's where you come to do the mail sort, where you can become full service compliant. The software is full service certified or capable of producing the full service mailings. So I'm going to click next on the familiar welcome screen, and now I get to the class of mailing. So we support any type of first class mailing, periodical mailing, standard mailing, and we also have some package services available for you as well. Within this wizard here, if you're not sure what your mail piece qualifies at, maybe it's a flat or it's right on the border, you can come here to quickly see with a visual on what the minimums and maximums are for a letter or a flat. I'm going to click next. Here's where you define your mail piece attributes. You could manually type it in, or if I select the piece, options come up and I can just select an envelope based off of the name, number 10, maybe it's an A4 letter. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and it'll auto-fill in the dimensions for me. I'm going to put in the thickness, and I'm going to put this in either inches or in centimeters. I'm going to base it off of however many pieces I measured. So if you measured 10 pieces, you could absolutely put in 10 here and say maybe it was a half an inch. We do support mixed weight mailings. So if you wanted to do a manifest mailing, you would select the mixed weight here, and then each record would have a weight and thickness associated with it upon import that it would use in order to tray and to sort your mail appropriately. I'm just going to use a fixed 1 ounce weight here based off of one piece and click next. This is where I'm going to enter in my mail drop zip code, and then also I'm going to select my permit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click on the sample permit here that I have, and I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like in the permit and how you would set that up. So you would define your role as in the mailing, either you're the owner or an agent, the permit holder. In this case, I'm the owner, so it would be my company. I put in the permit number, what type of permit I have, permit imprint, metered, pre-canceled, stamps, or postmarks, the date that the permit was issued, and the various other information about the permit. Then I get to my contact information, as well as this is where I'm going to put in my customer registration ID and any mailer IDs that I have. So this is where I come to put in that information in order to equip the software to produce full service mailings. Click Next, I give it a name, and click Finish. I'm going to go ahead and select that permit. And again, I could give it a job ID or sequence number. Both of those are optional. It will give it an auto-generated number if blank. Now I get to the eDoc or the Mail.dat screen. Here's where I'm going to put in my ID Alliance number and all of the appropriate information in order to generate those Mail.dat files for full-service mailings. The version of mailing, bulk mailer will always support the latest and the previous version of Mail.dat, so we have you covered there as well. Now we get to the sorting preparation. On this screen here, this is where you pick your sort levels. We support simplified addressing, saturation mailings if you had walk sequence numbers, automation, non-automation. These levels of sorts here, they work as kind of a cascade effect. So any of the mail pieces that do not qualify for the first level of sort defined will fall into the second until they finally fall out of the sort altogether. Pallets are supported within bulk mailer, so here's where you come to define what options you're going to use for your pallets. And go ahead and click Next. And now we get to the Intelligent Mail Settings screen. This is an important screen within bulk mailer. This is where you come to define your full service mailings, what type of address service you're going to put in your mailing, the barcode if you're going to use EasyTrack, which I haven't talked about yet. EasyTrack will allow you to, within our software, utilize the IMB tracing service from the post office, or the confirm service. It has two names. Sequencing is done automatically for you. We will keep the sequence numbers unique for the 45 days based off of a mailer ID and class of mailing. Any of the eligibility discounts for the standard mail that you are entitled to, you could select that here, as well as plant verified drop shipment. If I click this and I go into the facilities here, I can quickly do an analyze list and see if it's going to make sense to do a drop ship on this list if I am doing drop shipment. So you can come down and you can see that the various pieces are going to go, what the number of weight and such. And you'll notice here that you'll see that the numbers are quite small, and that's because I'm still in this move update group. So you'll see over here the current count is at 24. So analyzing list allowed me to identify that, in fact, I need to go back and select my all active records group. So what I'm going to do at this time is go ahead and cancel, go back to the groups, and double click on my all active records group and say yes. So now I can go back down to the mail sort and double click on the mail sort. One of the things about our mail sort wizard is that all the settings that I've selected before previously will exist on the next time. So every time I'll have the same settings unless I change something. So I can just kind of click next to this wizard until I get back to the screen where the full service is, and then I'll click next. Again, I showed you what the plant verified drop shipment is. The payment method, this applies to a meter mail only. We have the ability to calculate the minimum postage, so you can set your meter machine to one rate, the minimum postage due, and then again charge your meter with the remaining postage afterwards. Now we get to the tray label section. Here's where you're going to select the intelligent mail containers if it's not already selected. Define what your tray labels are or your container labels. Put in your company information. Go ahead and click next. You can define this as a template if you would like. And so I'll just go ahead and put PS demo in here. and click Finish. At this point, it's going to go through sorting my mail, and it's also going to produce all the necessary reports that I need in order to get my discounts at the post office. So I'm going to go ahead and view these reports. It doesn't look like it's letting me show you guys the reports. Let me see if I can change that. Okay, there we go. This is a mail sort summary report. The next screen is the second page of that. The third page would be the postage statement that we will generate in order to take to the post office. You have this net postage due if you're doing a meter, so you'd want to charge your meter that $15.52. The part A of the postage statement, your non-automation of the postage statement. The qualification report, which is essentially a blueprint of your mailing. This is required of the post office as well. And then lastly, the container labels. The container labels will have the intelligent mail barcode on there and everything necessary to get your full service mailing. Mail.dat files can be saved to any location you'd like. You could also save out your tray labels as a separate file, a text-based file, or a PDF right here. We have the Save as PDF button. I'm going to go ahead and close this at this point. And now you'll notice down here it says that I'm in the group Last Pre-Sort Results. So what that means is now my list is sorted, and I can go ahead and print this mail and take it to the post office in the trays and get my automated discounts. So I'm going to go ahead and just double-click on the Print Mail wizard this time and show you how to set up a Print Mail template. I'm going to go ahead and click Next on the Welcome screen. And I get to this, I have an option to do labels. Sheets are continuous if I was doing actual address labels, or I can do envelopes. Graphical output will print directly on a graphical printer. Plain text output, or for some of the older printers, typically I see that the graphical works for most of the printers out there. So Satori software also authors a lot of the common print drivers out there for the different types of printers. And so you can just select your printer out of the list, pick what type of printer it is up here. Oftentimes they'll say Satori software in parentheses behind it if you've installed our version of that print driver. I define what my envelope is. I'll just go ahead and pick this number 10 here. Click Next. I have address block options. I can create a blank template, or I can choose to create an address or a template with one of these options here. I can create it with just a barcode in the address block, with the barcode and an endorsement line, which is what I'm going to go ahead and do here, or I can customize it and define what it is I want this template to start out with. I can give it a unique name here and click Finish. It's created a new print mail template, and now it's bringing me into the print mail section to where I can come in and print directly out of bulk mailer. So this is a what you see is what you get type printing application. So you'll notice that I moved the address block over to about where it needs to be. I can preview this, the intelligent mail barcode. I chose to put the endorsement line on there as well. I have some options up here. So I can put static text. Maybe if I was doing a permit imprint, I can put my indicia over here. I can add any database fields to this, such as maybe a sort position, so I have a sequence number to look at. I can put, my return address up here with the text option up here. And then when I go to print, that static text will print on all of them. And then this print icon here will allow me to either print all the records, print from a page range, the current page, or I can print trays by tray. I can pause in between bundles or containers and then wait for the user or specify a specific amount of time that I want the printer to pause for me. And then print, and this will print your records to your printer. And then if you wanted to, you could also print in reverse order. Up here is that reverse order button. So now I'm at the end of the mailing or the beginning of the mailing. So we give you the flexibility to print and control the mail how you would like it to print and look within bulk mailer. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I want to save those changes. And then I'm just going to go ahead and move down the navigation bar here, show you how to export the records if you were doing a mail merge, and then hand it back over to Mike. So this submit button, you have the ability to submit your Mail.dat files or even Mail.XML. We support both directly to the Postal One system within Bulk Mailer. So you come to the submit, start this, you would enter in your login credentials, and again, interact directly within Bulk Mailer to the Postal One website. Track, I mentioned the easy track during pre-sort, and if you were to encode your barcode with the tracking numbers, you could come here, and this is where you could track your mail through the software as well. So you can get a snapshot view, which will show you on an entire mailing, or you can go into the complete, which will allow you to do individual mail piece tracking. The job builder is where you can automate a lot of the common tasks that you would see yourself doing on a day-to-day basis. So it'll allow you to tie together any of the templates that we've created today. And so if I right-click on this and just say open, essentially what this is going to do is this is going to open the active mailing. Any mailing that I have open down here, it's going to use. It's going to group the records by all active records. It's going to cache certify the list, and then it's going to group it by the all corrected records. So now I've just filtered out and got all the corrected records, or any of the ones that I know are going to be deliverable. And so again, in here you can come in and define the different tasks you want and automate those processes that you have spent time creating templates for. Lastly, I'm going to go back to the import-export section, and I'm going to export this list out for maybe a mail merge, or if I wanted to return a list to the customer as far as all my move update records or all the bad addresses, here's where I could come and export that out. I'm going to go ahead and save this as a file. It gives it a date and timestamp by default. Again, you have all of the various import formats as the export format. So I could export these out in any of the various formats that I want. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it a text file. Click Next. And now here's where I define which fields I want to export out. So I select the first name, last name, or any of the appropriate fields that I want to export, and select or click the Select button to get them over into the selected fields. And then down here we have some additional fields. So if I wanted to export out the intelligent mail barcode, I could do that. Maybe a sort position, the endorsement line, maybe a tray number. Also address correction fields. So we have an error code and error description, which will tell you what is wrong with each individual address. And again, there's a wealth of fields here that you can export out. Just export out whichever ones you feel are necessary at the time, and go ahead and click Next. We have this option here to output the first row as the field names. I'm going to go ahead and select that. You can select either a tab, comma, or define your own custom record delimiters. I can save this as a new template. Call it Export, and then click Finish. At this time, it's exported out those records. I can go ahead and say Close. So you can see right here that the destination has went to my export files. You can define that or select it as appropriate. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and then go back to the home page and conclude this demonstration of Bulk Mailer and hand it back over to Mike. Mike, there you go. You should have the presenter rights at this time.
All right. Thank you, Randy. Let me get my screen back up here. All right, we should be good to go. Appreciate the demo, Randy. And again, the purpose of today's webinar was to give you an overview of Bulk Mailer, what it looks like. So Randy did a great job there of just giving us a nice overview of Bulk Mailer, what it looks like. I went through a sample job. I appreciate that very much. So what I'd like to do now is talk to you about the training resources and support that are available here at Satori. There's two key areas on our website I want to tell you about today. The first is at www.satorisoftware.com/support. And here's where you'll be able to find tech notes, express demos, which cover a single action or topic in that support area. You're going to be able to also click on online classes. Okay, and you'll have a variety of recorded sessions and also the ability to sign up for a live session. These are free training sessions provided by our support team. And I took a quick glance here just before today's presentations. It looks like we have about two sessions a week scheduled for the next several weeks, and kind of how we do it here. We'd like to have about 2 a week of the free trainings that you can sign up for at any time. Another important resource for you is in our Learn section. It's found at satorisoftware.com/learn. There you'll be able to click on webinars, and you'll be presented with all the upcoming webinars as well as archived sessions that you can view as well. And I just wanted to mention some of the upcoming events that are listed there. Some of the live webinars that are coming up. The key one here, we have 3 training webinars coming up for people that have chosen bulk mailer and are transitioning off of the Postalsoft desktop. These are geared more specifically towards actual training. So Randy's, I think, today was more of a demo. These 3 webinars are more of a training. You know, if you've actually chosen bulk mailer, we'll help you walk through some of the training aspects of doing that transition in these webinars. We also have one coming up in August from 0 to eDoc in plain English. And I wanted to point out also some of the recorded webinars that you can find out there. Are you ready to pass TEM testing? Solutions that tie pre-sort and Postal 1 together. And we also have a recorded session out there, Post Pre-Sort 101, the basics. That kind of covers more about Monticello, our Post Pre-Sort package. So I wanted to share with you the contacts that you'll be working with should you decide on bulk mailer for your mailing needs. Eli Chosen and Mark Rowe are the Satori sales representatives that work with our prime resellers. You see them listed here as well. Should you have any additional questions, or if you're ready to start the transition now, you can reach out to them, the Satori sales reps, or your prime reseller to get started. So what I'd like to do today, we'll wrap this up with a little bit of a Q&A session. I see a question here. I'm just going to actually look at some of the questions log here and see what we've got out there outstanding. Randy, there was a question that came in during your demo. I don't know if you see it there. Can multiple lists be merged into a single pre-sort? Randy, do you want to take that one?
Yes, absolutely. And the answer to that is yes. You can do multiple imports of various different file sources into the same mailing, or what you're used to as a job. So you can import multiple lists, do your duplication search, and also pre-sort them all together as one.
Thank you, Randy. Also have one here. Someone's asked, what is the cost to make the transition to bulk mailer? Great question, obviously important to everyone. And we've put together a very attractive package to transition to bulk mailer. You can work with your Satori sales rep or your prime reseller, but in general, you'll be able to purchase bulk mailer Professional at your current Postalsoft renewal rate. And then, as I mentioned, you'll also get your Postalsoft Business Edition through the end of the year. Another question here kind of related to the Business Edition and Desktop Mailer. They entered a little late, but they're wondering when will SAP be retired. The official end-of-life date for the desktop products from SAP, being the Desktop Mailer and the Business Edition products, they will be officially retired on 12/31/2013. So the end of this year is when they will be retired. A key thing to note there is that the professional version of Postalsoft Pre-Sort was acquired by Satori. That product is not being retired or end-of-life. We will continue to maintain, enhance, and update that product. So let's see if there's any more questions that come up here. And okay, here was a question about some of the other data services that are available in bulk mailer. During the demo, we saw some. We do offer the tracking. That's our Easy Track service. Other services that are available, I'm not sure if we hit on them or not. I don't recall in the demo, but we do also offer walk sequencing, some suppression services, and some of those things are built into bulk mailer as well. So they would require a subscription, but those are possible through our data services section. All right, we'll see if we got any more questions that come up here. Here's one more. You mentioned Satori's newsletter. How can I subscribe to that? Thanks for asking. Yes, our on-the-envelope newsletter, it goes out about once a month to keep you informed about the mailing industry and Satori software. You can subscribe to that newsletter from any page on our website. Just simply scroll all the way down to the footer of any page on our website, click on the Join Our Newsletter link. There you'll check the on the envelope, submit your information, and submit it, and you'll get the newsletter. All right. One more question here. Will you match my existing NCOA subscription term? Yeah, we're same with matching your renewal costs currently with the desktop products from Postalsoft. Well, we can also match any kind of subscription terms that you have set up with NCOA. So just work with your sales rep or your primary seller, and they can go over the details on that. But yes, we're going to do that as well for you. All right. I don't see any other questions coming up. Just going to move to the last slide here. So again, in recap, we appreciate your time today. I would like to ask you, please take the time to complete our short survey here at the end. We would like to continue to improve the quality of these webinars. We will have another one similar to this a little later in a month or two, along with the 3 training ones that I've mentioned several times. A recorded session and presentation slides from this presentation will be available within a few days on our website. Just go into the Learn section, go to Webinars, and look for the archived sessions. So again, thanks for your time today, everybody. Appreciate your being with us, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.